No problem. It's confirmed. Nathan, come on up here.
Dr. Lee, you want to join us at the table?
Yes, I want to sit at the table.
Doesn't look so empty and.
Happy to do so.
Yeah. Now you can- Wait.
With you. Ceremony.
Did you just hear from them? It's great, right?
Yeah.
That was a great event the other night, Kim, and all those that worked hard on that. It was fabulous.
You did work really hard, so thank you. I thought it went really, really well.
Really enjoyed it. Congrats to Lisa. Tom did a great job. Thank y'all for letting me come join you. Really enjoyed it.
I'm glad that you could be there.
Okay, let's get this meeting started. Good morning, everybody. We'll call the meeting to order. I know we're streaming on YouTube, and would you please take the roll call, Dr. Gold?
Only chair.
Here.
Mr. John Kane, Vice Chair.
Here,
Honorable Chaz Beasley. Ms. Lisa Eastep.
Here.
State Treasurer Brad Briner.
Here.
Mr. Chris Lumsden.
Yes, ma'am.
Then Advisory Committee members, Mr. Ward Nye. Dr. Amanda Lee. Good morning. Mr. Gene Reese.
Here.
Mr. Chris Chun. Honorable Senator Michael Lee.
Good morning.
Morning.
Honorable Representative David Willis. Mr. Seth Dearman.
Here. Congrats
Great.
to Senator Lee as well. Sorry I missed it. Thank you.
Great. Well, thanks for joining, everybody, and I'm really pleased with the attendance from the advisory committee. Could you please read the ethics and awareness conflict of interest statement, please?
Sir, in accordance with the State Government Ethics Act, it is a duty of every member of this committee to avoid both conflicts of interest and the appearance of conflict. Does any member of the committee have any known conflict of interest or appearance of conflict to respect to any matters coming before us today? If so, please identify their conflict or appearance of conflict and refrain from any undue participation in the particular matter involved.
Thank you. All right, we have one action item on our agenda today. To approve the presidential profile as written or with some slight edits if required. Do I have a motion to approve the agenda? So moved. Mr. Lumsden, got a second.
second.
Mr. John Kane, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any
Aye.
opposed? That motion carries. Approval of the minutes. You received the minutes from April 2nd meeting. In advance of this meeting, do I have a motion to approve the minutes, please?
So moved.
Kane, do I have a second?
Second.
Second. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Any opposed? That motion carries. Okay, well, good morning. We're coming off, I think, a real high after our gala at the Angus Barn. Congratulations, Senator Lee. It was an incredible evening. And what was extra special is we invited Pendo to come. And Pendo is where we had our first North Carolina Community College Summit. And they brought one of the folks that worked in their coffee shop that served many of the folks who were at the summit. And that young man suffered from IDD. And he was standing and jumping up and down. He was so excited as an individual who has been impacted that was in that audience. And Pendo said, we want to do anything we can for you going forward to support this. And I don't care whether it was AT&T or the other big companies that participated. The MC's already reached out to me. He wants to do it again and help any way he can. So we've got a lot of new supporters. And it wouldn't have happened without the work of the whole staff here at the system office, the colleges. We had 31 colleges, which is by far a record, and all the displays they provided. So we're coming off a very, very strong event. And now we're on to the most important event, which is hiring the next president. Today, we'll review the final leadership profile. I did get some feedback over the last 48 hours on this. We'll discuss that today. Is Ken Carrick on? He's not on? Interesting. Okay. I had a couple of things come up, which we'll discuss this morning, but hopefully there'll only be, if any, a few minor edits, because we really need to get this to press and get Ken to work. I was on the phone with him, in fact, last night. So with that, let me just, rather than go through any more discussion, I want to really take you through the profile. If you go to the first chart, I will just tell you that this profile went through many, many reviews to make sure we got it right. It told a story, and we listened to your feedback in the last call. We'll take you through all the changes that have been made. But this is probably the largest outreach that's ever been done in the state of North Carolina, and I would say it's not comparable to any other search across the country, from what I've been told from the people we've been working with. Between the group interviews, I mean, Mr. Kane and I talked, I think it was over 14 people, 2-on-1 with those individuals, and they were just phenomenal discussions, from the philanthropic partners to business leaders to local supporters, folks like MC Bell Pylon. We just had wonderful conversations about the commitment to this system with the personal interviews. Then we had the public website set up. So I don't know what the final total was across the board, Nathan, but we probably got feedback from well over 1,000 plus people, and we'll have that number when we're done. So today, for review and approval, the final profile, and what I want to do is turn it over to Nathan to walk through it page by page, answer any questions, because what came out of the last meeting is we have to be net. In particular, I just want to call out one of the quotes. I think they're very powerful about the importance of this job and the amount of support for this role. So not only did we put a few short quotes in that people will read, we included a QR code so that if they want to read the full quote from those people, they can see it, and then embedded other quotes throughout the presentation to provide validity to the numbers that we provided on those pages. And like I say, every story's got to have a beginning, a middle, and an end. And I think in this package, that's exactly what we got, which is wanting for more and wanting to be part of the successful North Carolina Community College system. So Nathan, let me turn it over to you. So,
Very good. Go ahead and pull up our profile. If you can make it just a bit smaller on the front, Mary, I want to be able to see the full.
Better.
keep going down so we can see the whole page. Probably about 50.
Keep going.
Please.
If you'll scroll just a tad. Let me start off with we had some conversation around the title of the doc for the profile, and had some feedback from this group and some internal conversation on this. We also ran this through not only our marketing firm and team that we work with, but also we had brought in a PR firm as well, had them review the document. And one of the things that we heard first and foremost is a lot of love for the title on this. And the feeling behind it was bold, it captured attention, and it would be really something that we could build a media campaign around in terms of getting more attention around the job and what we wanted to convey in this. What we also heard was we needed to beef up a little bit more information at first glance here about what exactly that means in terms of the most important jobs going on. And so we made it a little bit more clear that that means that we're selecting the next president CEO. And then we included a couple just high level summary about what that means. And here's what that person would do. Here's what that means in terms of the system and systems and mission. And so we wanted to make sure that that came through clear on first glance. Here, you want to go to page 2? Second page, the last time you saw this, we had a lot of just filler text in there as we were going through the process of reaching out to some of the individuals that we thought could speak to this and really provide and had previously provided us with some really good thoughts and feedback on this. And so you'll see in here, I think they did a really great job of speaking to this role in terms of through their lens and what that means for their role for North Carolina and what we would need to do moving forward. We also worked with each of these individuals to make sure that we didn't get the same type of quote back 10 times, that we were working with them so that every single one of these felt unique and felt like it was corresponding to their lens. So really excited about this. One of the things when we first started off is we knew that we wanted to get some of our state leaders in this document, in this profile, to show the amount of support statewide for this, not only the system, but also support for the individual that comes into this role. We are not only an important organization, but we are viewed as an important organization. And there's a lot of folks that are excited about supporting us as we move through the next presidency and as we continue to transform as a system. So very, very excited about that. So you'll see there are some quotes on this page, and we also have some quotes throughout the document as well. And those really help drive home some of these pages where we felt like having those leaders showing that bipartisan support would be really great in driving home the message. Go ahead to the next.
All right, just so you see on the bottom left, there's a QR code there. What was interesting with the folks that we requested quotes from, they wrote a lot. And as we talked last week, you just want to read something quick, go to the next one. So if somebody sees something in here, and says, I want to see what they said in total, they can go to that QR code, and it keeps the interest of the reader. So I thought that was a good change.
The next page, you'll see we kept a lot of the text. We tweaked it a little bit to make sure that it was focused around workforce development. But really this page really was the biggest change to it is order and sequencing for the document. We changed how the document was laid out. We got some great feedback from this group and from the members from this group around the need for reorganizing how the document reads and what that flow looks like. And so one of the things that we heard was we needed to start with rooting this in the context of the changing economy, not only in the US, but in North Carolina, and the change that this gives us an opportunity for in terms of higher education and community colleges. And so we think this does a really good job of showing how much of an opportunity this is. As you'll note too, we also made some changes with imagery throughout this. We had some really good campus photos, but they were a little bit redundant in what they were showing. We wanted to make sure that we carried through just the diversity of North Carolina from mountains to coast in this. And so we reached out to some of those partner colleges and got some of their imagery in. And so I think this is really strong. One other note too is we also did it for this document, and we'll do it for documents moving forward, is making sure that as we are bringing in photos for these types of pieces, that we're citing the campuses those came from to show those. And I think Sharon Decker's quote in the bottom left did a really good job of rooting this page in the importance from her lens around what this means for North Carolina and being able to compete as we want to bring in more business. Page 4, North Carolina's most important organization. The biggest thing we wanted to do with this page is we made a little bit of some tweaks with just making some of the numbers a little more crisp in this and a little stronger. But we also went through and we wanted to make a few of these statements pop a little bit more. We didn't want it to feel so much like a body of text. We have some really important numbers in here. This is a really strong document when it comes to us proving out the evidence behind our impact as an organization. So some of them, like, nearly half of all undergraduate education in this state is provided by the system. That's really strong. We need to make sure that that pops out as you're kind of going through that. That's really a show of skill for this work. We did not touch the graphic on the list, and that's the same. We did update the sourcing for it just to make clear on those numbers. And Barry, you can go ahead and go to the next. This was a strong page. We didn't have a lot of feedback on this. We talked some about, the differentiation of our numbers at the top around curriculum, continuing education, basic skills. And where we landed is we felt like this was a really strong section to continue to keep in there. We feel like the total enrollment number is really important for applicants to be able to see just the sheer size of the system. And the breakdown on the top right around, like I mentioned, curriculum, basic skills, continuing education. That's really important for showing the diversity of the system. Again, we are probably the most comprehensive system in the United States in terms of what we offer. A lot of states may offer curriculum only, or they may offer, a focus on basic skills, but not many offer the sheer amount of resources for our residents and citizens, but also for what we do for businesses as well. We had some really good feedback on this page around strategic investment. And this was one of the ones that we probably made more changes on. And so what we wanted to do was we wanted to pull through a little bit more information about the SOAR campaign, which is the foundation's capital campaign. We wanted to show momentum. We got some good feedback from this group about really wanting to show kind of where we came from to where we're going with this. And so we pulled in what that has looked like in terms of just a massive jump for us in terms of dollars committed. And the other feedback that we got on this page is previously we had, I think, just 3 strategic partners on that page. We didn't want to convey that we had done the bulk of our work in only engaging 3 really great organizations, but that we are engaging a lot of organizations. A lot of people have been a part of this. So we wanted to bring in some more of those names to show just the sheer amount of momentum and engagement we've had in this work.
I mean, quotes don't cost you anything. So this is like, they used to say the breakfast meal, the chicken's involved, the pig's committed. When people give money, they are truly committed. And to me, this chart is very powerful about the movement in the amount of investment that's being made outside of our normal investors in the community college system.
Page 7 is, powering one of the nation's fastest growing economies. I know we had made a change. I'm not sure if this change was made prior to this group, but we had strengthened that headline up a bit. We wanted to make that pop a little bit more. And we think this does a really good job of showing what we mean in terms of workforce development. As you see here, we have some numbers specific to some of the recent announcements that we've had, just showing, again, the scale. We also tweaked a little bit the global industry leaders section for this. We wanted to make it clear that not only do we have Fortune 500 companies, but we also just have a lot of big global industry leaders in Carolina. And then at the bottom, you'll see we also pulled through a great quote from Chris Chung in this that really, I think, drives home the importance of what we do for the role of business and economic development. So one of the things that you'll notice is this is a smaller document than you saw previously. One of the things that we heard from this group and from others is we wanted to see if we could tighten this up, make it a little bit more focused. We had 3 or so pages that were kind of in this same mold around the charge of the leader. And so what we did is we really tried to compressed this down into one page. And so this page is called the Leader's Charge. And so it's focused around what we are looking for in terms of economic development, workforce development, and system leadership. And so I think we did a good job of getting the number of pages down in this without losing anything that was core to what we wanted to make sure was conveyed in this work.
And important here is, if you look in the bottom right corner, is a rendering of the new education campus. And the reason for that is to show the investment and the vision in the state of putting these organizations into one facility to work, drive collaboration in various organizations.
Pages, desired attributes, experiences, and qualifications. We made some changes to this, the content on this section, just to make it a little bit stronger, get our tone right in this. Got some great feedback from this group and some of the members. We also made some changes to design on this page. We had a couple areas that we wanted to, like, for example, the blue box that you're seeing there didn't really come across. That was a part of some more description of what you were seeing below. So we wanted to make that pop a little bit more so that we were framing that up properly just for ease of reading. And we also wanted just to make sure that this is something that not only is it strong and has the right tone for it, but it's also easy to scan through and understand what we are looking for in this. We have had some conversation, and I'm expecting us to make a change here in what we're going to do with our heading on this page. I'm expecting at this point, unless there's other feedback from this group, for us to probably change that to key attributes, but certainly open to additional discussion.
Yeah, let's spend some time on this piece, and then we'll finish up. I think this is a key component. And some of the feedback I got last night, yesterday afternoon, was desired attributes, experience, and qualifications. While these are attributes, the experience and qualifications are not part of that. I reached out to Nathan last night and to the search firm and asked them why is it just basically attributes? And the answer was they wanted to throw a broad net. Now I expecting him to be on the call this morning. He's not on the call.
He's on an airplane.
Okay.
I got a text from him to land before.
So I wanted to have this open discussion this morning because we've really got to get this profile done. I don't put up subpar work. It clearly is an experience of qualifications, but we needed to have a discussion on, is anything else needed in this section on qualifications? Or is the search firm correct in saying, by doing this, I can throw a broader net that will give you a better pool of candidates? So I know, Chris, you and I had a discussion. Amanda Lee, you and I did. I know President McGinnis sent me a note on this. So I'd just like to discuss it and see if we can come to agreement of, if there is a modification, what would that modification be? So we can discuss it, implement it. And then I can take that to the board today at 1 o'clock for approval. So I just need some thoughts on this.
Mr. Chair, I agree with the change of the heading, key attributes or desired attributes. So really the question I had would discuss this is basic qualifications. That it's bachelor degree, advanced degree, doctorate degree. Now, I agree, we want to cast a broad net, so we don't want to eliminate really qualified folks, but and whether it be in this document or just an understanding of the search committee and the board that what are the basic qualifications educationally and then also professionally. We're looking for someone with 10 years, 15 years, 20 years of executive level experience with systems. And we all agree or disagree that this individual person that we find that fits the qualifications or the attributes of this job does not necessarily need to come from the higher education arena. So whether we have to spell that out or not, I just think at least for the committee and the board we understand we're looking for, as you've said oftentimes, maybe a candidate doesn't come from the traditional ranks for a position of this nature. I mean, after all, we called it the most important job in North Carolina. So I think a discussion regarding basic qualifications is important. And then we have to decide whether we need to list those or just have an understanding of what they are or what they're not.
I know I'm not probably the best judge of that. I'm not sure everybody in the room. I was, again, going to lean on the search firms. See, I don't do this every day. But I do believe that there needs to be some level there to set those expectations. And I think, President Lee, you kind of agree to that as well. So my question to you, Dr. Gold, is, normally we have these things pretty well baked by the time we get to the committees. There's usually minor modifications. How do we handle this so we can add those qualifications, get feedback to do it right from Ken Carrick, and not have to delay this for another couple of weeks? Any thoughts?
I think if we could come up with a statement, I know one version of the profile, we did have a statement that said master's degree preferred or advanced degree preferred with relevant executive level experience. I think if we could come up with that statement, hopefully Ken's plane will land shortly and we can get his feedback and approval and get that approved by the full board this afternoon. I think it's very common in job descriptions or postings to say more relevant experience so that you're not boxing yourself in, but also put out the expectation that there is some sort of advanced degree this person holds or that they have relevant experience in lieu of that advanced degree. If we could come up with that statement here, we can get it to the full board this afternoon.
Okay.
Yeah, may I weigh in on that?
Yes, please.
I see I understand the reasoning behind wanting to put something in there. I think seeing all these desired or key attributes, it would be a rare person to apply for the position. I think who didn't have those qualifications. And then that's what the search firm is for, is to whittle down the pool for anyone who does apply. To me, I would rather keep that statement of qualifications as broad as possible, because putting a number on it, I wouldn't want someone who has maybe a rather unorthodox pathway to leadership to not apply, or to feel like, okay, well, I don't have this number, and maybe they wouldn't be that way, but I'm thinking of some successful leaders that we've had in the system that maybe didn't follow the traditional path. So if we're looking for that leader who thinks outside of the box, they may have had a very different pathway. So I would for my opinion is just to keep it as broad as possible. So that's my 2 cents.
Treasurer Briner, you've given me a lot of good insights through this process, and I know you've been involved in a number of these. Any insights you have on that?
Not necessarily. The one thing I was thinking about from the experience perspective, and it gets to the broadening comment that just made, Lisa, experience managing a decentralized organization, right, is very broad, but I think it's very relevant to this. So I think that gives you some of the more experiential pieces of this. I'm not caught up necessarily in educational background, but I do think you have to have experience managing some kind of decentralized organization to be successful in this job.
That's a great one. Let me throw one other one out there. Change is hard. And I think I've talked to folks in other states who've done it. They know how to do it. So I'm not saying someone who's never transformed and worked with a decentralized system can't do it, but someone who has transformed a smaller organization and brought people along. The key is you just got to bring people along. It's not a forced march. It's bringing along and showing the value prop. And there's folks I've talked to that were just fabulous listening to them of how they managed this. And it all started with the people in the colleges. So I don't know how we put that on here. To your point, Lisa, I don't want to limit it because, I don't have any background in education and I've been involved in 3 major institutions now. And I think there could be someone out there that has done this, but on a much smaller scale. But any thoughts on that? Let it transformation. I don't want to have to create this on the fly, or do we think we capture it that someone, or do we weed that person out who really has only maintained organizations and not transferred in the interview process and in the resume? Does it have to be pulled out here would be my question.
From my perspective, I agree. I wasn't suggesting that those qualifications be incorporated into this profile. I just think it's important that the search committee and the board, and maybe some other stakeholders as well, understand the qualifications that we're looking for, including the search firm. As Lisa said, that we hired this firm to weed out, identify the best candidates. And again, it's not uncommon these days to have retired generals, corporate CEOs that are looking for a change, lead organizations that they historically have not been disengaged in before. So that was my only.
But I think changing the title helps.
Right.
Looking at the title, you then start looking for what are the qualifications, what are the experiences. So, and I would certainly agree with what's been said, and I wonder if we don't need a statement, and this isn't it, but something along the lines of interested candidates should discuss with the search committee their experience and qualifications to evaluate whether it's a good fit. So you kind of are forcing them to make that phone call and to start having a conversation.
Okay. So all right, Dr. Gold, any other feedback on the qualifications, the need? I think this has been very helpful. My problem is the processes around this to make changes. It's onerous at best. So I look at our attorney down here. So how would you propose, based on this feedback, we put we call this attributes and qualifications, if that's what we agree to, and then just add, maybe it's 3 bullets, real basic but broad, and they maybe revolve around previous transformation experience. It'll revolve around, I don't know, we need education in there. I think the way you said it
in the
was perfect.
previous version, Mary, just scroll down just a little bit, just the bullets. Continue on to the next page. There's a little bit of space stuff right there. We previously had that statement at the bottom there where we just said experience preferred, advanced degree preferred, or relevant experience. And then as we go through the
We lost you on the phone.
Like they've frozen.
Yeah, it looks like it froze. I don't know if he'll see, but I'll text Tom just in case he's looking at his phone.
Did you all just get a crash report from Zoom?
I think she's getting it and sharing it to her screen. We're not. I tried to click on that.
Yeah, I tried to. It wouldn't. Very helpful.
I haven't heard anything back, so I assume Tom's not looking at his phone.
I heard from Dr. Gold. She said they're working on it.
Thank you.
You guys are on mute.
We can see you moving now. Can't hear you.
How about now? Wonderful. Thank you for your patience.
Okay, were we on 8?
Sorry about that, folks. We had a technical difficulty and I'm not even sure where you fell off. But,
There was discussion on whether the desired attributes, experience,
Yeah.
qualifications, title needs to change, as well as the last bullet on the second page of this, or the first bullet, to incorporate Treasurer Briner's suggestion.
I think from how we landed for the folks in the room right now is that we would not amend the document except for, based on on the conversation, or we went offline, and while we're offline it's going to be changed to desired attributes and experiences. Just attributes. Keep it broad. And if they have questions, the Carrick's name and contact information is immediately after that. It's broad enough to throw a broad net, which is what Ken Carrick told me. So we would stay as is with just the experiences and qualifications off. Leave it as a broad net, and Ken will handle this. The document will drive the awareness and the interest. And interested individuals want to be part of this. We call for additional clarification.
Is there a need to have a common understanding of what those qualifications would be and take that to the search firm? Without changing the.
My perspective, the answers. Yeah, yes, and that search firm, the search committee and the board just need to understand and agree that it won't be in the profile, but we were looking for candidates that may not have a doctorate degree or advanced degree or experience in the higher education arena. That's the broad net we're casting. As long as everyone understands that, I don't know that needs to be incorporated into the profile, but it should be understood by board and the search firm.
I believe, I know from discussions with search firm that it is his intent is a very broad net. We are not unique in that. Had that discussion, and again, you'll be at the board. Will you be at the board? Be at the board meeting, correct?
As long as there's plain plans.
All right, but more and more organizations are putting a much broader net out on all this. And the word CEO sends a note. And I got a kick. I was in the airport this week in Atlanta flying through, and one of our presidents was there and they had a jacket on and it said CEO on the jacket. So I thought, so it's catching on. I mean, it's catching on that that a president's job, the system office is a very, you've got to be strong business skills to manage these, or have very strong people under you to get it done. So I think it was a robust discussion. So I'm going to go back to Amanda Lee. So you would say keep it as broad as it is and let the search firm do the culling of the individuals.
I'm comfortable with that.
Okay, and I know you have the issue as well. As long as that's clear with the search firm.
I think for this profile, maybe less is better.
Okay. It's kind of the thought, but I want to make sure people had a good discussion on this today. And again, if the hook we've thrown out there is not catching a whale, we're catching bluefish, and we can probably amend the profile, and that's the last thing we want to do, but we always have that option. Any other comments on the line? And I appreciate Treasurer Briner and Lisa, you both weighing in on this. So Chris, would you make a motion to move forward at this point in time unless there's any other comments? And let's just make sure we're agreeing to, you understand what we're doing, we're staying with this as is impact.
And the only change is to the title.
Title of page 9.
Can I raise one thing real quick, Tom? I'm sorry.
Sure, Seth.
And I don't want to force this. Just wanted to ask the question. I think this looks great and the quotes are all tremendous. Would it be appropriate to have a quote from the governor? Or was that discussed and decided that that wasn't helpful for some reason? And fine if that's the case, but just wanted to flag it.
It wasn't, it was, I'm trying to remember if it was discussed or not. I think it's appropriate.
If it's helpful, I could turn one around this morning. And
I-
if it's not, I don't want to force it.
No, they can, what say we land on that?
Seth, I can, from my lens on it, when we were looking at this, we didn't have any elected officials in it, or we didn't have any, I felt that if we put the governor in this, then we also may have to bring in some other voices from the state. And just that became, it kind of got us down a political line of it. And I wanted to stay focused more around the workforce development piece.
I understand. Don't want to push it if y'all don't think it makes sense.
And I really appreciate it because now as I jog my memory, that's exactly what we did it. There were the only one that gets close to politics really would be Sharon Decker is a former, but because of her impact on Western North Carolina, she's got a very loud voice both on the Republican and Democratic side, and there were no other elected officials quoted in the document.
Mo Green is elected.
Oh, okay, Mo Green. But again, we had Peter Hans there too, just to show that there's partnership between those two organizations.
I'm comfortable either way. Just wanted to flag it because it jumped out at me as I was looking at it. So
I
happy with the committee, whatever they want to do.
Appreciate it.
Just a question for my own benefit. On page 5, we talk about all of the statistics. And one of the statistics is multiple programs. What is that referring to? All the other ones that were student numbers. What's that? I just was, so if anybody asks me, I can explain it.
Yeah, so this was came from our data team, and essentially it was we had a number of students that were in multiple programs that were in different areas, taking different classes in this, and so we had that essentially those were overlap
So
students.
Students.
Yes,
But they may be continuing ed and curriculum.
correct.
And this page, if going back to your comments earlier, if we're talking about someone who's not in higher education, I think this page could be confusing. However, back to your point, if we're looking for someone who has experience, they're going to be assertive enough to ask the questions.
Well, again, I would claim to be much of anything in education. If I look at, I'm a business guy, I look at curriculum only. And I look at Con Ed, those are the two numbers that jump out at me as I look at this. And then the basic skills, multiple programs. It just says we're heavy. This one shows me we're heavy on Con Ed and workforce, which yeah, I think it's a positive.
They're great. They're great numbers. I'm just not sure someone outside, maybe even in North Carolina, would know what basic skill is, and I didn't know what multiple programs was.
Basic skills is interesting.
So.
So that is a good point.
All right. So what would you change basic skills to?
I think we could say adult.
Take it off.
Education. Well, I don't know if we need to take it off. And again, I don't want to make a lot of
Right.
changes. And I was hoping in the text, maybe there was a little bit of an explanation, but because I think that would cover it as well. Page.
Page 5.
Blue box.
Page 5.
You start with 600,000 students.
Blue box at the top has basic skills, 51,202.
We're suggesting change.
And could we say, I know high school doesn't really encompass. I think we call it career college readiness.
To
Mean
outside
anybody
the-
else that-
No, it may not mean
I
anything.
don't know it.
Yeah, we get pre-college, maybe we, pre-college stuff, like, so I mean, again, how much in the weeds do we want to get, or do we want to just assume that they would call and ask?
I think we want to show we're really big and we're diverse and we've got our Con Ed is almost equal our curriculum. We're growing and I think that jumps at you. But again, a lot of that should come out during the culling process if there are other specific questions that can be answered by the search firm in the system.
And I'm fine with that. Right. Get it up.
Tom, one
Okay.
last thing I'll flag, if you'll humor me. On page
Sure.
9,
Yeah.
that we changed to attributes. The second bullet, we talk about building trust across sectors. We mentioned the General Assembly and others there. Would it be appropriate to include the governor or the executive branch in that bullet?
Yeah. Got it. That's a good one. Thank you, Seth.
You got it.
Executive branch. Yeah. All right. You got that on your list, Dr. Gold.
Executive branch.
So. Going back to what President Lee mentioned with the basic skills thing, continuing education. We know that's workforce development programs. I think we're the only ones that not every state says it as continuing education. Not getting in the weeds, but I mean, we've run into that at the state level where people don't understand continuing education as I've talked to. One solution we could do, I'm not proposing that we do it, but you could have a little asterisk down here in subtext. Okay.
We
All right.
again,
All right.
again, some of that fine tuning should have been done weeks ago. So.
And I think any candidate that goes to our dashboards needs to be able to find those statistics in terms that they would see them there.
All right. Have any other comments, Norm? Time.
I'm prepared to make a motion, Mr. Mayor.
All right, do you have the? So you have to read everything that was amended.
Janelle,
Okay,
So my recommendation would be to make two separate motions, because my understanding it's on two separate pages, just to ensure that the committee is well informed on what they are voting for versus listing out all of the changes. So there would be two motions.
two motions. So
Correct.
first motion would be to approve this profile subject to two changes, right? I move to amend the profile on page 9 to read desired. My question on this would be, can we have desired leadership attributes or just the desired attributes? So what's that?
I would have to answer before the motion is made to ensure that we know
I
what.
need to ask a question or make the motion. Desired attributes or desired leadership attributes?
Is it the leader's charge?
Do we go to?
Yeah, that's correct.
Yeah, so I think we've got leaders
Yeah,
captured in that.
the very last one is on one system leadership.
You show the heading on that page.
So desired attributes.
yeah, that's good. All right, good catch. All right, let's try it again.
All right. Move to amend the profile page 9.
The title.
Title 3 of desired attributes. And then.
Executive bullet.
And in the second bullet to include executive branch. We need to act on that,
Yes.
because that would be my first motion, Mr. Chair.
Okay. Do I have a second? Anyone left online? Is that
Second.
good?
Yeah.
Yeah, Reiner. Okay. All in favor, please say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Any noes? Okay, motion carries.
Second motion, this is a very simple one, I believe, based on what I heard. And I'm sorry, I'm reading this from Janelle, so I move to amend the profile on page 13 to include questions. That is to apply, place in the resume, cover letter, and questions so add questions to that first sentence. If that makes any sense.
And he's referring to the blue box where it says to apply.
Basically, to submit a resume, cover letter, and questions.
The questions was added to that section.
Questions. That would be my motion to amend page 13 to include questions.
Okay,
The word question.
will I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries. We're at 9:58. I got to thank you very, very, very much for the discussion. And we need a motion for the whole thing? Sorry, third motion. Okay. Do I now? Okay, go ahead, Chris. You're doing fine.
I'm reading here. I move to approve the profile as amended.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Easton, all those in favor, please say aye.
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 Any opposed? That motion carries. We have a profile. And we will almost one more step. And I got to tell you, folks, I really appreciate all the hard work that went on inside the system, outside the system to get this thing done. I think we've got a hell of a compelling story. I know the search firm is excited to get moving on this. I know you all are. So thanks for joining this morning. We'll keep you updated now on a regular basis as we move through this. The heavy lifting begins, and we'll get through the board meeting here at 1 o'clock today. I have a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All right. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Meeting's adjourned. Thanks, everybody.
Thank y'all.